We did it. We escaped. We just got home and it was a great night tonight. Like, we did this whole escape room experience. Well, it was in celebration of my birthday, which is at Friday, and then Crystal's birthday, my sister-in-law's birthday, which was a few days ago. So we were in celebration of our birthdays, and so we did this escape room, and we did it. We escaped, because we're just, you know, our group of smart, our family's just smart. Like, we're problem solvers. We had lots of good clues. I'll just say it that way. You know what? Actually, we did it. We crushed it. We got out of the room, and we were not slain tonight. We made it happen. But you know what? I want to talk to you today about MealFlour. Now, this is an organization that we interviewed early on. Had to get software to get it to edit it and all that kind of stuff, because we did it over a Skype interview. So we've got that for you tonight and today, to whenever you are watching. But really want to just show you that people are already doing the work, and we want to help empower them and others like them. So let's go. Here we go. Let's roll the footage, the video. Just play the video. I'm Jeremy, and this is Naomi.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hi.
So who do we have here?
Yeah, so I'm Gabby.
I'm Elizabeth.
I'm Joyce.
And we're MealFlour.
Yes.
And right now we live in Quetzaltenango, Guatemala, where we piloted our program at the end of 2016. We train communities how to build and maintain mealworm farms so that they can make a protein powder from the mealworms, and they can incorporate it into any foods that they're already making.
Excellent. Can you give us a couple examples of what those foods would be? I've got some ideas, like making tortillas, but you know, I need to know what you guys are experiencing now.
Yeah, so definitely tortillas. There's like a special kind of oatmeal they eat a lot called nosh. Atuls, which are usually like corn-based drinks. You can just like add a little bit of mealworm powder to that to add some extra protein. Do you have any other ones to add, Joyce?
Yeah, some of the women that we work with have talked about making pupusas, which are originally from El Salvador, but they're pretty common here as well. They have like they're like stuffed tortillas with cheese and beans and meat or veggies and things like that.
Wow, that's cool. Well, what got you guys started on this journey? What was the heartbeat or the passion that started?
We've all had like various experiences in global health. In 2015, I was in Nigeria doing some research on household air pollution.
I was working in Rwanda at an HIV clinic, and Joyce was...
I was actually here in Quetzaltenango, and I was working with the nutrition program that we are piloting with right now.
So basically, we kind of come to edible insects from a global health perspective. We were looking for a nutrition solution or idea that included not just a better diet, but also incorporated like other interconnected systemic issues like low income and like unsustainable farming methods. And so we stumbled upon edible insects as like that kind of solution.
Yeah, and like to give like a concrete example, like last year, there are a lot of like protein supplements that are available in Guatemala, but a lot of these are soy-based products, and they're packaged and they need to be transported. The nutrition program I was working with was doing these like bi-monthly distributions, and meanwhile they were teaching these families how to make gardens. And so part of it was thinking like, oh yeah, we can incorporate this concept of like family home gardens with a source of protein instead.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's great. What are you guys most excited about right now?
We're about to start this new program that we're calling our Train the Trainer program. So last year we were working with a group of women in our pilot community through the nutrition program that Joyce had worked with before, but we've partnered with this NGO here that provides vocational trainings, and we found a lot of 7 community leaders who are really excited about mealworm farming, so we're going to teach them how to do it and then help them train other people in their communities. So I think that's a lot more sustainable than us just giving all the trainings. We really want to be able to teach other people how to do it.
It's fantastic.
That's something that I talk about a lot. I haven't put out videos of, you know, kind of that concept. It's really our next phase we want to create this manual and kind of get the information out there, but then it really is training the trainer, because you're limited to your time, but as long as you can duplicate yourself in the cultures they're used to the culture, they can go in and teach amongst their peers. I feel like that's the quickest way for duplication, and so I love that. That's what you guys are working on. It's really good confirmation for what we want to do. 3, 5, 10 years. Have you guys thought about that?
Yeah, I think very short term, maybe 3 years. We want us to be out of Guatemala, and like the MealFlour program to be in the hands of actual Guatemalans who live here and can know how to develop a program into the way, like we were saying before, it fits their own communities. And then maybe 5 years, maybe we restart the process in another region of the world, using the information that we learned from our pilot here in Guatemala. And then 10 years, maybe NGOs who have already existing programs in different countries around the world can just incorporate the MealFlour program into their existing programs to save on resources and just to improve their own curriculums.
Why did you pick mealworms?
So when we got into edible insects, we were doing research on all the different kinds that people are currently farming. It just seemed like mealworms are kind of the easiest ones. They didn't really require resources. And we were really into this idea of all the different kinds of sustainability. And we realized that you could basically build a mealworm farm from any kind of material.
Yeah,
that was super exciting to us, because we realized that meant that you could really bring it to lots of different places.
That's phenomenal. Now, as far as taste, okay, so you've done the research. How many different types of insects have you tasted in that research, or just in your experiences?
My hometown had a program that was really big on edible insects. So we had a fair where there was just varieties of cockroaches, ants, spiders, mealworms, just everything.
Wow.
Fun. Yeah, I think the most. I've had the normal. I've had crickets, grasshoppers. Yeah, the normal mealworms. I think I've had ants before, in one of those lollipops when I was little.
Yeah, scorpion lollipop.
Yeah.
I was inspired whenever I saw your story. I really appreciate you guys pioneering this, because it's not just for the hungry. We know that it's not just for what you guys are doing in the developing countries. It's for all of us, and it should be a way of life for all of us. But I really appreciate your heart, and that you guys are bringing that solution to them, and they can then provide for their family. So I really appreciate that.
I have a question about the training. So kind of our goal is to create this, it's a visual farming insect guide. Are you using, obviously you're there, it's hands-on training, but are you using any kind of written material or graphics material to do the training?
Yeah, we give out handouts with all of the trainings, and we make posters for some of the things that require more visuals. It's all pretty low tech.
Yeah. Right.
Or is it more audible based, that when you're there, it's that hands-on? What's your experience with that?
Definitely more hands-on and conversational. Our trainings are conversation-based, so they have the materials, the paper to reference later maybe, but it's only when we start actually asking them what we've been saying to repeat back, and also discuss the material that they actually seem to get it.
Yeah, and it's a super collaborative process. We actually have learned a lot from our pilot community. One of the first obstacles we ran into was how different the weather was in Shayla in the Highlands compared to in Connecticut, where Gabby started her first mealworm farm. And we were thinking of ways to keep the farms warmer. And one of the participants started putting blankets out in the sun and then covering it later, the farm later. And she had baby mealworms, and soon all the women were doing it, and we started to see baby mealworms. So it's really about discussion-based learning.
That is phenomenal. And I love the engagement, because so much, when I think about, for me, from our background, I think about missionaries going into an area, and they're trying to bring the message. However, for us, it's like you need to bring the food source first. That's just my opinion. But then you have to go in and you learn the culture, and not trying to change the culture, but empower the culture. And I think I feel like that's what you guys are partnering with the cultures. You're getting that communication back and forth, and you're really just emphasizing their own culture and just helping and empower them. So that I feel like is a great model, and I really want to applaud you guys for doing that and being a beacon for everybody else to see how it should be done. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I think the last one is like a favorite story. Is there like some experience that you kind of at the end of the night can sometimes look back on and be like, all right, this is what we're doing, or just a fun story?
We were fortunate. We got to work with about 40 students who were training to be teachers at the end of last year. And we gave them kind of like a crash course on our program on mealworm farming. And on the second day, we told them to bring in, based on the information they got the first day, we said bring in whatever materials from home that like you were going to throw away or have just lying around, and then we can like test different ways to make new farms. And we had already made like water jug farms before to test the upcycled material, but this one group brought in milk cartons that were rounded, and they made like a rounded stacked farm that we wouldn't have ever thought of. And it was just so exciting because like that was the purpose of the training, was to like get people to experiment and like create new farms. So that was pretty exciting.
Yeah, it was cool.
That's great.
That is awesome.
Can you explain upcycle? So for people that are watching, what that means? I mean, it's a great concept. So can you explain what that means?
Yeah, Joyce, so I was introduced us to Upcycling. I was the one that really pushed for us to use that term.
I love it.
I guess like when I think of recycling, I think of like taking a plastic bottle and then using it for sort of a similar purpose. I guess for upcycling, I think of like coming up with something innovative with like pre-existing materials, to making something new, like a farm, or it could be anything. Like I think of a group called TerraCycle that makes like bags out of old Capri Sun packets and things like that, like making something that can serve another purpose with old materials.
Great.
That's excellent. So next question I have is, so if somebody's wanting to come in and they love what they're hearing from you guys and they want to help support you, what's a way that they can come in and support you? What kind of support are you guys looking to gain in this next season?
I think in this phase, mostly financial support, just to help buy the materials for our training programs. And then the people that we are training, like, we're hoping that this is going to be a part-time job for them, at least at the beginning, to go home to their communities and teach other people how to do that. So we want to be able to compensate them for their time and kind of being the pioneers for this mealworm farming program in their community. So that's definitely one way. We're also just kind of trying to get the word out about mealworm farming kind of around the world. So if financial support isn't something that people can do, just setting up their own mealworm farm, telling other people about it. We have a DIY section on our website, and we love hearing about people who've set up mealworm farms around the U.S. and other countries. So that's another way to just get more people mealworm farming.
I love it. We'll get the links in there. And so, yeah, is there any questions that you have for us?
What is your 10-year vision?
That's a great one. I really have a goal to see an educational resource hub to where things like mealworm farming or cricket farming, the different types of farming, not just for insects, but then you can layer with other agricultural practices, so you can help a community become look at the long term and become sustainable. I really feel like it's a 20 to 30 year goal. Really, I have a 10-year goal to see this hub of information from water to every type of agricultural practice. But it's got to start with, for me, it's got to start with the basic root being insect farming, because it's something that can be foundational, can be done anywhere. The nutrient levels can be really impactful and healthy for the person or for the community, but then they can layer upon that. And if you've got a resource distribution network, like what you guys are talking about with Train the Trainers, and you're keeping those communities connected, you have a way to continue to put out information. So that's where my brain goes. Well, I really appreciate you guys taking the time, and I look forward to seeing how far you guys go and continue to just spreading that message and watching the story. So thank you so much. And
Thank you.
Yeah.
you have a wonderful night.
You too.
Bye. All right, guys, so that was it. That's MealFlour. These ladies are making it happen right now and changing the world. We're talking about world changers. You just watched World Changers. They're making things happen. And so what we want to do is be able to empower them and people like them that have a heart for different places around the world. We want to empower them by giving them the educational resources that they need to train the people in their areas, their cultures, and with the insects that they have available, and providing them with different ways to use those insects. That's what we want to do, is create this digital hub, these digital resources, so that they can empower the people around them, empower their communities. And we want to also provide them a place that they can come back to if they need expert opinions, expert input, expert advice. And we want to have that expert resource center available, that we're connecting them with the experts that have the answers that they need. So that's what we're doing here at Seeds of Action. That's our heartbeat, is helping people feed themselves and by empowering others to impact the communities around them. So thank you guys for watching. If you like our videos, thumbs us up, thumbs the video. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. And if you want to hit the bell after you subscribe, you'll get notified when our videos drop. All right, guys, have a wonderful night, and we'll see you next time.